Hey people, welcome back to another video. Today I am talking a little bit about XDefiant and just everything about it, you know, some problems, my takes on those problems. I wanted to talk a little bit about the release, because it's been out for a little while now. It's been out for like a couple of weeks almost, I think. I wanted to talk about that, you know, how I think the game performed in terms of it being a alternative to CoD, which is what I saw it as, and it's what many other people saw it as. So I wanted to give my thoughts there a little bit, and I also want to talk a little bit about some of the problems, because, you know, it's not a perfect game, but I want to talk about the problems, give my takes on those, because I think it will be different to what you may have heard elsewhere if you've listened to anyone else's takes. So, first of all, let's get into where the game started and talk about the release. So, the release was obviously highly anticipated. We'd been waiting for it for pretty much, I believe, an entire year. If not an entire year, then very close to an entire year. So obviously this game was pretty, you know, for a lot of people, they'd written it off because they'd been waiting so long and they were like, this game won't even do well. You know, there's a lot of people who are quite close-minded. I wasn't one of those people, and I was, you know, I was ready for this game to release. I was eagerly anticipating its drop. I played it on the first day. On the first day, I didn't get into any matches. Apart from, I got into one, actually, and I had a great time. I would say day one, you know, server issues, it kind of happens with games nowadays. It's almost to be expected, and I did. I was lucky enough to get into a game, though. So, yeah, that's a huge W. And then every time I've played it since then, I've been perfectly fine, being able to get into games, you know, the next day, in fact, I was fine. So I'd say server issues, there's not that many. I'd say the biggest issue with the game is probably, it's weird. It's like, I don't even know what you'd call it. People are saying netcode and stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but the game feels fine to me. What doesn't feel fine is sometimes when you're shooting people, I feel like I'm hitting all my shots. It just feels like there's one or two in there that just isn't doing damage. And people have said, hit more headshots, it's super important. And I have no way of knowing if the enemies are hitting headshots on me, so I guess there's that. But yeah, it's a weird one. I don't really know how to explain it. It's just a weird feeling, and maybe that gets sorted out in the future. I don't know. I'm just putting it down to being like a connection issue that they can wean out. Like the developers have said, you know, they are working on making the game more reliable, making the servers better. They're you know, making more servers so that people all over the world who maybe don't have a fast server to connect to will have a fast server to connect to. I believe they have said those things, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good for the game, for the players, and for the future of the game, because the game is performing incredibly well. And something that people tend to compare this game to a lot of the time is Call of Duty, and I think it's okay to do in terms of just, you know, having a game to compare it to that is in the same genre and has similar kind of gameplay. You can absolutely compare it to Call of Duty in the sense of it's you know, quite a fast-paced arcade shooter. You know, you're going to run in, you're going to play an objective, and you're going to die. Or if you're my teammates, you're going to run in, you're going to die. But yeah, as I said before, very, very briefly, the game doesn't have any skill-based matchmaking, so the players that you can actually play against and play with are completely varied. And I think it's super, super healthy for the game. You can tell when you are a better player. And you can tell when you're getting better at shooting. You can tell when you're, you know, overall you're just improving. And I really like that about the game. Something I don't like about the game, which kind of coincides with gun skill and, you know, recoil control and stuff like that, is actually the weapon leveling. Because, you know, you can level up your weapons and it works fine for the most part. My only issue is I think it takes quite a while. And I've watched videos where people have talked about it, and I think the best solution I've heard of is, because when you unlock the bronze mastery camo for any weapon, you have, at that point, when you get that camo, unlocked all of the attachments that you can unlock for that weapon. I think the amount of like required XP per level from, you know, level 1 all the way up to whatever level it is for bronze, like I think it's like 50. I think that should be lowered. I think the grind for getting from weapon level 1 to weapon level whatever it is to bronze mastery camo where you unlock all the attachments should be less of a grind, because a lot of the time when you start using a new weapon, it feels like you are just at a disadvantage because it's taking you so like you're playing multiple games before you've even got like a few attachments on your gun, and I think that kind of sucks. And then the reason I think, you know, from bronze to gold should stay pretty much the same as it is because, you know, that's meant to be a grind. At that point, you're only unlocking those mastery camos for something to grind, and I don't think it should be a fast thing. I do think that that should be a grind. And I think that the grind right now is pretty healthy to actually doing that. You know, it feels like you've accomplished something, and I think it's overall good pacing. I feel like unlocking the attachments for the weapons is a little bit too slow right now. You know, maybe this will change. Maybe we'll have a double XP weekend every weekend, and then, you know, people will not have an issue with that. Me personally, I don't play too much on the weekends, but there you go. So that's pretty much where I'm at. You know, there's some problems, some good things, and in the gameplay in the background you're watching, I'm actually sniping because, you know, people have been complaining recently about sniping. So if you want a video about me talking over just some of the things about sniping, or, you know, what do I think about it? Do I think it's overpowered? Because a lot of people are saying it's overpowered because they don't have flinch. Do you want my take on that? Because I've got a take on that, and it differs from what a lot of people are saying. So if you did enjoy, consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a ton, and I'll see you in another video.